100 feet below the surface of the ocean. In complete darkness, Harrison Okene waited to die. The water around him was cold, black, and silent. The ship he worked on lay upside down on the seafloor, and inside that wreck, Harrison was trapped in a tiny pocket of air, listening to the sounds of his dead crewmates. This is the unbelievable true story of how one man survived 60 hours underwater in conditions no human should ever endure. Harrison Okene was a ship's cook. He was not a diver. He was not trained for deep-sea survival. He was an ordinary man working aboard a tugboat off the coast of Nigeria in the Atlantic Ocean. On the day everything went wrong, the sea was calm. The ship was anchored. Most of the crew had gone to rest after a long shift. Harrison was in the bathroom below deck when he heard a loud cracking sound, metal tearing apart. Before he could react, the ship was struck. A massive wave slammed into the vessel, knocking it violently to one side. In seconds, water poured inside. The lights went out. The ship tilted sharply, throwing Harrison off his feet. It ran. As water rushed through the corridors, Harrison fought his way forward. But the ship continued to roll. Within moments, the tugboat flipped completely upside down. Then it sank. The force of the sinking ship pinned Harrison against a wall. He was dragged underwater, tumbling through darkness as furniture, equipment, and debris smashed around him. The pressure was crushing. The water was freezing. Somehow, Harrison found an opening and kicked upward. His head broke the surface of something impossible, a small air pocket trapped inside the overturned ship. The ship hit the ocean floor nearly 100 feet below the surface. Everything went silent. Harrison was alive, but only barely. He was standing in an air bubble no bigger than a small room, surrounded by water on all sides. The ship was upside down. The walls dripped constantly. The floor was gone, replaced by black seawater. He called out for help. No one answered. As his eyes adjusted, Harrison realized the horrifying truth. He was not alone. In the darkness beyond the air pocket, bodies floated. His crewmates, men he had spoken to just hours earlier, were dead. Some drifted in and out of view as the water moved. Harrison could hear sounds. Knocking, metal creaking, and sometimes movement. At first, he thought someone else might be alive. Then he realized the sounds were coming from fish and sea creatures moving through. The wreck and from bodies shifting with the current. The air was damp and cold. Every breath felt thinner than the last. Harrison knew the oxygen would not last. There was no food, no fresh water, no light. He had only his faith and his will to survive. Hours passed. The cold sank deep into his bones. His legs were submerged in water, and he began to shiver uncontrollably. He tried to stay standing, knowing that sitting in the water for too long could kill him faster. He prayed. He thought about his family. He thought about his life. He prepared himself for death. At times, Harrison believed he heard voices. He believed he saw movement that wasn't there. The darkness played tricks on his mind. Exhaustion and fear blurred reality. Still, he refused to give up. Unknown to Harrison, above the surface, rescue teams had arrived. The ship was presumed lost. Everyone on board was assumed dead. But days later, a salvage operation was launched to recover the wreck. Divers descended into the Atlantic Ocean with no expectation of finding survivors. As one diver moved through the overturned ship, his light cut through the darkness and something incredible happened. A hand reached out of the black water. The diver froze. Inside the wreck, a human hand grabbed his arm. Harrison Okene was alive. The diver recoiled in shock, unable to believe what he was seeing. No one survives that long underwater. Not without air. Not at that depth. But Harrison had. Rescue divers rushed to stabilize him. He was shaking violently, barely conscious, and suffering from severe hypothermia. His skin was pale. His muscles were weak. But he was breathing. Carefully, they guided him through the wreck and brought him to a diving bell. Harrison had spent over 60 hours trapped underwater, surviving on a small, shrinking air pocket. Doctors prepared for the worst. They expected brain damage. They expected organ failure. They expected death. But Harrison survived. Against impossible odds, his body endured the cold, the darkness, and the lack of oxygen long enough to be rescued. His survival stunned medical experts and seasoned divers alike. Harrison Okene did not survive because he was trained for it. He survived because he refused to surrender. Today, his story stands as one of the most extraordinary survival stories ever recorded, a reminder that the human will can endure far longer than anyone believes possible. Trapped beneath the ocean, surrounded by death, alone in the dark, this is the true story of Harrison Okene, the man who spent 60 hours underwater and came back alive.